Hello, hello, Sarah of SEK Handmade here, and today I'm going to share with you how to work the Tunisian honeycomb stitch. This one gives amazing texture. I know you're going to love it. Let's go. My friends, the Tunisian honeycomb stitch makes just such a gorgeous, gorgeous texture. So let's learn how to work this stitch so that you can use it everywhere. You're going to need a non-ergonomic crochet hook. Does not have to be a Tunisian crochet hook. It just needs to have a handle long enough that you can stack up your loops like you do in Tunisian crochet. And then it just needs to match the size of the yarn you're using. You can use whatever size you want. Highly recommend a heavier yarn weight. Easier to see your stitches the bigger your yarn is, and a lighter color and a nice smooth yarn so that you can really see what you're doing. To get started, you're going to need to work a chain and a setup of an even number of stitches. Doesn't matter how many, as long as you can keep all your loops on your hook. I have 10 here, and then you're going to work a return pass, which I'm going to do right now. If you need help with either your setup or your return pass, I will link the videos in the description below so that you can check those out and then meet me back here to learn the honeycomb stitch. Alrighty, I am back on the right edge of my row and the beginning of my row, and I am ready to work the Tunisian honeycomb stitch. Now, I do want to let you know, reminder, you need an even number of stitches for this to work out nicely. And then this is a 2-row repeat. So do not watch row 1 and then run off to give it a try, because you're going to be missing an entire portion of the instructions. So 2-row repeat to make this gorgeous, gorgeous texture. So to start off, we are going to insert our hook and work a Tunisian simple stitch. So insert your hook from right to left and pull up a loop. For the next stitch, we're going to work a Tunisian purl stitch. If you want a full tutorial, I'll link that below as well so that you can practice that and then maybe come back and give this a try, or just dive right in, whichever you prefer. You're going to bring your yarn to the front of your work, find your next stitch, insert, just like you're going to Tunisian simple stitch, bring your yarn to the back, yarn over and pull up a loop, and that's your Tunisian purl stitch with that fun little bump. And then we're just going to alternate back and forth between Tunisian simple stitch and Tunisian purl stitch for our first row. Little tip here, remember we started, I'm talking and I'm going the wrong way here. Remember we started with a Tunisian simple stitch. We should end with a Tunisian purl stitch and then our edge stitch as usual. And that's the first row of texture. I'm going to complete another return pass and we'll talk about the second row. All right, now that we're back to the right side of our work again and the beginning of our row, all we're going to do is switch the order of our stitches. So we're still working Tunisian purl stitches and Tunisian simple stitch, but instead of working a Tunisian simple stitch to start off, I'm going to work a Tunisian purl stitch to start, and then a Tunisian simple stitch. Now, easy peasy, but I want to give you a few tips on how to see your stitches so that if you get stopped either in the middle of a row, or if you, like most normal people, cannot complete your entire project in one sitting, that you know what you need, what stitch you need to make next. So the first thing you can do is look at the row below. So this stitch was a Tunisian simple stitch, and so I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to work a Tunisian purl stitch into that stitch. You can see that this stitch has the bump around it, the purl bump, and so I'm going to work a Tunisian simple stitch in that one. Now, the other thing that you can do is keep track of your edge. And so what I would do personally is I would take a stitch marker, and when I work a Tunisian purl stitch as my first stitch, I would just put my stitch marker through that purl bump there. And then I know that this was my purl row. And so when I come back to this, I can do two things. One, I know that my next row, even if I'm all the way back at the edge with that stitch marker there, I'll know that the last row is a purl row, and so my next row is going to start with a simple stitch and not a purl stitch. The other thing is, now that I've got that there, I can just, if I put this down and pick it back up, I can go purl, simple, purl, simple, and I know without even having to read my stitches below that that one's going to be a purl stitch. I hope those little tips are helpful and that you make some amazing projects out of the Tunisian Honeycomb Stitch. And there you have it, the Tunisian Honeycomb Stitch. Such a stunning texture. There are links below for patterns that include the Tunisian Honeycomb Stitch. I hope now you're ready to dive right into those and crochet away confidently. I know you're going to have so much fun making things with this stitch. If you enjoyed this video, I would love it if you would like it, subscribe to my channel, and maybe even share it with a friend. Thank you again for joining me today, and happy crafting!